Phyllis offers Lauren a job, and Nick has a risky plan to lure Matt out. Today on Young and Restless, Victoria helps Nick set a trap, Lauren receives an unexpected offer, and Audra stops Sally from making a big mistake. Devon and Nate confronted Victor. Kane begged Phyllis to lie for him and Noah got another chilling threat. Phyllis sits in the Newman office thinking of all the times she's come there to throw herself on his mercy. She's the all-powerful one now and she likes the view from the top. Lauren walks in and finds her with her feet on Victor's desk. Phyllis assumes she's come to lecture her. Lauren explains she's actually come to praise her. She says that, right or wrong, she should be congratulated for her audacity. She's become one of the most powerful women in the world. Phyllis will take that. She admits her kids are giving her the silent treatment, even though she did this for their future. Lauren knows it can be lonely at the top, so if she needs to talk, she will be there. She's sure she doesn't want to hurt anyone, not even Sharon. Phyllis wishes people could be Team Phyllis. She's sure her kids will come around eventually, but they've been brainwashed by the Newman propaganda machine. Lauren isn't taking sides but understands her issues with Victor. Her friend tells her about all the awful things that Nick said to her. Lauren offers to take her out for breakfast. At Chancellor, Billy thinks of how he was stabbed in the back the last time he was there. That won't happen again. As he takes a deep breath, Sally walks in. He asks if she's had a change of heart. Nothing has changed for her. Spectra just wanted her to know she's hired Audra to work with her. Jill has already approved it. Billy is sure they will do amazing things. Sally explains she's also changed the name to Spectra Charles and thanks him for Newman Media. He's shocked but won't argue. He's sorry their professional relationship is over but doesn't think their personal relationship should follow. He asks her to dinner so he can beg her not to give up on them. Sally says they can't go backwards. He pleads for dinner. She agrees to one dinner. Sure he won't say anything she hasn't already heard. Phyllis and Lauren arrive at the GCAC. The redhead complains about how no one believes in her. As they get a table, Billy shows up and wonders if Lauren is okay with Phyllis screwing Victor over. They chat about how he has been on Phyllis' side because he hates Victor. He wonders why Lauren is openly supporting Phyllis. Lauren says she owes Victor nothing and doesn't care if everyone knows that. Billy urges Phyllis not to let anyone talk her out of her success and walks off. Lauren is surprised she has so much peace with Billy. Phyllis is just exhausted pleading her case. No one wants to hear it. Lauren does. Her friend explains this is her last chance to change her life for the better. It's incredible to her that people see her as the villain and the Newmans as the good. If she has to be the town pariah, so be it. Lauren says she will do anything to help. Come work for me, Phyllis suggests. Lauren is flattered but she's comfortable. Phyllis suggests she's being complacent. She needs to think of all the adventures they could have. It would be so much better than picking dresses for the bug. Sally joins Audra at Society. They look at the logo that Audra has designed. Spectra loves it. They talk PR statements. Sally explains she went to see Billy to tell him she doesn't care what he thinks. She made it clear she's moving on without him, but admits she's going to have dinner with him. Her friend thinks she's giving the abbot another chance to talk her out of what's good for her. Sally doesn't want things to end on bad terms. The dinner is just a final goodbye between civil adults. Audra claims she's done with passing judgment. Her friend assures her that she and Billy are done. Audra tells her that sharing a stick of gum with him would be a mistake because she can't resist him. Sally says she's wrong. Audra hopes so but urges her to go into dinner strong and resolved. At Crimson Lights, Sharon and Victoria talk about all they have been through. Victoria is still hoping the takeover can be reversed. She hopes her brother isn't out trying to track Matt down. Sharon fills her in on the threatening texts he's been sending to Noah. She worries that Nick hasn't even recovered from his last injury yet. She's worried he might be dependent on his painkillers. They wonder if he should talk to his doctor. They get back to discussing Newman and Phyllis. Sharon doesn't condone what she's done but is sure she's feeling pain and regret. Outside, Nick grunts and looks at his bag on fentanyl. He pulls out a pill but throws it away. Then he picks it out of the snow and swallows it. Nick joins his sister on the patio and tells her she shouldn't go to Milan. She says their dad feels the same. Nick thinks enlisting Summer into this fight is not the right move. They sit and mull over the issue of Phyllis, and he insists his daughter needs to decide what to do for herself. Sharon joins in to say that backing off from Phyllis could make her soften. Victoria worries their father could escalate things if they don't resolve this fast. They speculate on what their dad might do. Victoria assumes he's pushing Kane to do something drastic. Nick gets a text from Matt, asking if he is still offering $5 million to get rid of him for good. Sharon starts badgering him about the texts. Nick explains he's asked for millions to leave Noah alone. He declares they need to deal with this since the cops can't. Sharon says they need to lure him out. This all sounds risky to Victoria. Her brother and Sharon say they can handle this. He has an idea to drag Matt into a trap. Next week on Y&R. Have you heard from Dad today? I've been trying to get a hold of him and it's making me a little nervous, Noah says to his mom. I haven't heard from him either, and I don't like it, Sharon says. What are you gonna do to sway me? Phyllis asks Kane. I think I have something that you want so bad you won't be able to refuse, he claims. Victor kidnapped my father. Kyle asks. Victor just told me that if I don't hand Chancellor back to him by the end of the day, we will never see Jack again, Billy explains. On Moment's explosive occasion of the young and the restless, power shifts, emotional injuries renew, and dangerous games begin as nearly every major player in Genoa City finds themselves standing on a fault line that could crack at any alternate. Phyllis Summers sits alone in the Newman office, gaping out at the skyline that formerly represented everything she could no way relatively conquer. 4 times, she had walked into this room lowered, hopeless, contending for understanding or remission from Victor Newman. Now the tables have turned. She's seated behind the office, her heels resting bravely on the polished face that formerly bullied her. The view from the top is intoxicating and segregating. There's triumph in her eyes, but also commodity, differently the faint shadow of mistrustfulness she refuses to admit. When Lauren Fenmore walks in, she takes in the scene without judgment. Phyllis assumes she's about to be scolded. Rather, Lauren surprises her. She congratulates her. Right or wrong, audacity counts for commodity. Phyllis has deposited herself as one of the most important women in the business world, and that's no small feat for a brief moment. Phyllis allows herself to lounge in that confirmation. But the gleam fades snappily when she admits that her children are slightly speaking to her. She insists she did this for their future, to secure commodity lasting for them. Lauren gently reminds her that success frequently comes with loneliness. However, she'll be there, if Phyllis needs someone in her corner. Phyllis wishes the city would rally behind her for formally, Team Phyllis, as she half-jokes. Rather, she feels blackened while the Newmans are treated like kingliness. Lauren doesn't take sides, but she understands Phyllis' long-standing resentment toward Victor and the machine he erected. Phyllis reflections about the cruel effects Nick said to her, how deeply they cut. Lauren suggests breakfast at the GCAC, seeing her friend needs comfort further than strategy. Meanwhile, at Chancellor, Billy Abbott stands in the veritably space where he formerly felt betrayed and lowered. The ghosts of once defeats loiter in the air, but he refuses to be blindsided again. When Sally Spectra walks in, poised and tone assured, he searches her expression for vacillation. He finds none. She informs him she has hired Audra Charles to unite with her, and that Jill has formally approved the decision. Billy masks his shock with forced sanguinity. Also comes the bigger surprise: the company will now be called Spectra Charles. Newman Media is no longer part of her future. Professionally, they are done. The particular, still, is murkier. Billy asks her to regale, not for business, but for them. He wants one further chance to fight for their relationship. Sally insists they see and rewind history. Still, she agrees to one regale, certain she won't hear anything new. Billy sees it as stopgap. Sally sees it as check. At the GCAC, Phyllis and Lauren settle into a table just as Billy arrives. He pointedly questions Lauren's comfort with Phyllis taking down Victor. Lauren makes it clear she owes Victor nothing. Billy, who harbors his own resentment toward Victor, supports Phyllis' power heist and urges her not to let anyone dwindle her palm. When he leaves, Lauren admits she's surprised by how calm she feels around him now. Phyllis confesses she's exhausted from defending herself. Lauren listens without judgment, offering what many others have: empathy. Also, In a moment of impulsive alleviation, Phyllis makes an offer, "Come work for me." Lauren laughs at first, flattered but reluctant. She's comfortable where she is. Phyllis challenges that comfort, calling it complacency. Why settle when they could conquer? Why pick dresses when they could command conglomerates? The idea lingers in the air, dangerous and thrilling. Across City at Society, Sally and Audra review the new Spectra Charles totem. It's bold, ultramodern, and unapologetic, much like the women behind it. Sally admits she told Billy she's moving on, but she's still having regale with him. Audra warns her not to underrate his conclusive charm. Indeed, participating a stick of goo with Billy Abbott, she jokes, could be a mistake. Sally insists she's stronger than that. Audra hopes so, but urges her to walk into regale armored and unvarying. At Crimson Lights, Sharon Newman and Victoria Newman reflect on everything they've endured. Victoria still hopes the preemption can be reversed, though sanguinity is fading. Sharon reveals that Matt Clark has been transferring hanging textbooks to Noah. The fear in her voice is unmistakable. Nick hasn't completely recovered from his last injury, and Sharon worries he's leaning too heavily on pain drug. Outside in the cold wave, Nick gapes at his bag. He pulls out a fentanyl lozenge, hesitates, throws it into the snow, also retrieves it and quaffs it anyway. The act is small but emblematic, control slipping through his fritters. When Nick joins Victoria, he urges her not to drag Summer into this war. Their son deserves autonomy. Sharon suggests that stepping back from Phyllis might soften her station. Victoria fears Victor will escalate if they do act snappily. The name Kane Ashby shells, Victor could be obliging him into drastic action. Also, Nick receives a nipping textbook from Matt. Is the $5 million still on the table to make me vanish? The pressure harpoons. Sharon presses Nick for details. He admits Matt demanded millions to leave Noah alone. The police haven't answered this. So Nick proposes commodity reckless. They bait Matt out themselves. Victoria calls it dangerous. Nick insists it's necessary. He has a plan, one designed to drag Matt into the open and end this trouble formally and for all. Away, Devin Winters and Nate Hastings defy Victor Newman about Lily's whereabouts, demanding answers he refuses to give freely. Kane begs Phyllis to lie for him, promising he has commodity she desperately wants. The chessboard is crowded, every move concentrated with consequence. The exercise for coming week deepens the stakes. Noah grows anxious when neither he nor Sharon can reach Nick. Kane tempts Phyllis with influence she may not be suitable to repel. And in a stunner twist, Billy reveals Victor has issued and claim return chancellor by the end of the day, or Jack will no way be seen again. Still, it suggests Victor may have abducted Jack Abbott, a move that would enkindle an each-out war between two of Genoa City's most important families, if true. This occasion underscores the show's enduring themes: power versus fidelity, ambition versus family, love tangled with revenge. Phyllis stands at the top but risks losing the people she climbed for. Nick risks his sobriety and safety to cover his son. Sally risks continuing her heart. And Victor, as always, plays a deeper game than anyone can completely see. In Genoa City, palms are no way clean. Alliances shift like beach. And every parlous plan carries the eventuality for ruinous fallout. As the week ends, one verity remains clear: no bone is safe, and the coming move could change everything. Phyllis Summers remains enraptured by her hard-won authority, but cracks are forming beneath the lustrous face of her triumph. After her bold offer to Lauren, she returns to her office alone, replaying every response she's entered since seizing control. Applause from some. Outrage from numerous. Silence from the people who count most, her children. That silence stings further than any public commination. She insists to herself that history will vindicate her. Visionaries are no way appreciated in the moment. They are stressed, misunderstood, abominated, indeed, but ultimately, proven right. Still, mistrustfulness creeps in during the quiet. Lauren, meanwhile, can't shake the offer. The idea of stepping out from before safe, familiar walls and into commodity audacious tempts her further than she wants to admit. 4 times, she has balanced business with family, stability with fidelity. But Phyllis' challenge, are you comfortable, or are you perfunctory? Echoes. It's not about dresses or departments. It's about heritage. Lauren has always been redoubtable in her own right. Partnering with Phyllis would mean stepping into a storm, but maybe storms are where reinvention happens. Across city, Billy Abbott prepares for regale with Sally Spectra as though it's both a first date and a last stage. He tells himself he'll stay composed, rational, regardful. But Billy's heart has no way adhered rules, especially not his own. He remembers the way Sally believed in him when many others did. The way she challenged him. The way she made him feel like redemption was possible. Losing her feels like losing an interpretation of himself he actually liked. Sally, on the other hand, stands in front of her glass rehearsing resoluteness. She repeats the reasons the relationship didn't work. Trust fractures. Contending intentions. Emotional whiplash. Yet beneath the sense lies craving. She doesn't want to want him, but she does. Audra's warning plays in her mind. Indeed, participating goo with him could weaken you. Sally laughs at the magnification, but she knows the verity behind it. Billy has a way of slipping past her defenses. When they meet for regale, the air between them is thick with untreated rulings. Billy doesn't supplicate incontinently. Rather, he listens. He asks about Spectra Charles, about her plans, about her excitement. And she glows when she talks about it. He sees the fire in her and realizes that loving her means not darkening that honey. Still, when he eventually speaks about them, his voice softens. He doesn't ask her to go backward. He asks if they can grow forward, else, wiser. Sally hesitates. Growth sounds safer than nostalgia. But can they truly change patterns that have defined them? Away, Nick Newman is twisting beneath a facade of control. His parlous plan to bait Matt Clark is forming piece by piece, but so is his reliance. The lozenge he swallowed in the snow becomes emblematic of commodity darker amenability to compromise himself in pursuit of protection. He justifies it as temporary. Necessary. Once Matt is annulled, formally Noah is safe. Once the family extremity stabilizes, also he'll focus on himself. Sharon senses the shift in him. Times of loving Nick have given her a sixth sense for his battles. She watches how tightly he clenches his jaw, how snappily vexation flashes behind his eyes. When she suggests looping in authorities again, he skirmishes it off. Matt wants plutocrat and power. Fine. They'll bait him with both. Victoria is more realistic but inversely concerned. She understands strategic traps. She's executed plenitude herself. But Nick's plan feels particular, driven by emotion rather than computation. She warns him that despair is visible and bloodsuckers smell despair. Nick insists he has influence. He knows Matt's pride. He knows how to provoke him. What none of them completely grasp is how far Matt may formally be willing to go. At the same time, Victor Newman operates in the murk, as always several moves ahead. The claim involving Jack Abbott sends shockwaves. However, it signals a new position of escalation, if Victor has indeed orchestrated commodity involving Jack's exposure. To Victor, influence is currency. And Jack has long been both rival and preoccupation. Billy's response to the claim is stormy. His contest with Victor is no longer just commercial, it's particular, primitive. The idea that his family could be contributory damage ignites commodity dangerous in him. He confronts Victor, demanding answers, but Victor responds with cool detachment. In Victor's world, consequences are lessons. However, he knows the price, if Billy wants Jack safe. Phyllis watches these developments with equivocal seductiveness. Part of her admires Victor's ruthlessness. Another part recognizes the monster everyone accuses her of getting. Is she different? Or has she simply espoused the same playbook with a fresh hand? Kane Ashby's despair intensifies as he approaches Phyllis again. He hints at enjoying commodity she wants poorly, information, influence, maybe indeed a pathway back into her children's good graces. Phyllis is intrigued but conservative. Kane has no way been entirely secure. Still, power brokers CA and go to ignore implicit means. She listens precisely as he outlines fractions of a deal. Devon and Nate continue pressing Victor about Lily. Their battle underscores a generational clash, old guard dominance versus new age responsibility. Victor refuses to be interrogated, yet their continuity signals shifting runs. The youngish power players are no longer happy to operate under his shadow.